Hey guys, Professor Korean here. In today's lesson, I'll be going over Fox in the metagame. Now, he's been getting a lot of great placements throughout all these amazing tournaments, so this character is very strong, and I'm going to go over the pros and the cons of the character. Let's begin.
Alright, so let's get right into it. First, I want to talk about Fox's neutral game. He has very quick, grounded movement speed, so he can really dictate certain pacings in a lot of matchups just because he moves so quick on the ground, and there's so much threat from his movement. His short hops and his full hops are very strong because of his fall speed. He can just jump up and get right back down to the ground, and you can just play really reactive. You can short hop or full hop, see your opponent do something, and then fall back on top of. You can either fall back on them and come down with like a aerial option that you just get a lot of conversions from, or just get back down onto the ground and go for a grab or a dash attack. It's just really, really strong just because of like how fast he falls. One of the things that isn't so great about Fox's neutral game is his bad air mobility. When he does commit himself into the air, he can't really move left or right in the air that much. So you don't have too many mix-ups in terms of that. You kind of just like come straight back down, or if you have double jump. If he did have insane air mobility, like this character would actually not be okay. So I'm kind of glad that he does still have weaknesses in that. And another weakness in his neutral game is he does not have a lot of range, at least on his air moves. Fox's range is more so embedded with his grounded speed. So it's like, oh, he can like cover so much ground in dash attack. So like that's essentially his like quote unquote range. But the actual range on a lot of his moves are very short. But like I said, it's compensated with his movement speed on the ground. So yeah, that's the main things you have to be thinking about when you're in neutral with Fox, like playing against him or playing as him. Next, I want to go over essentially the backbone of Fox, which is going to be his insanely good burst options. Everything really branches off of his burst options in terms of his damage or even a lot of his kills. So I'm going to go into it and start talking about dash attack. So dash attack combined with his movement speed is one of the best burst options in the entire game. He still gets a lot of damage output from it. He doesn't have too much kill confirms like he did in Smash 4. Dash attack upper was like a super solid confirm. But in this game, you can DI away, and he still gets a lot of good situations and a lot of good damage from dash attack. So those can eventually lead into kills. But yeah, just an insanely good burst option. And like I said, combined it with his grounded movement speed, it's just so dangerous. Dash attack can still also cross up shield. So some characters with not so strong out of shield options from behind can have a little trouble punishing that. Next, I'm going to talk about dash up, F tilt, and down tilt. They're not as fast as dash attack, but they still set up really good situations. F tilt sets up tech chases, which Fox is extremely strong at, and down tilt is pretty much one of his main combo starters now, so you get a lot of damage from it. If you hit a down tilt, it usually leads up into up air, nair, or back air, depending on the DI. Another great burst option that Fox has is going to be run up neutral. You can short hop or full hop it. Full hop, you're going to mainly catch people in the air. Short hop, more so against grounded opponents. If you hit a neutral, you can usually go into like anything. Lower percents, you go into jab. Later percents, depending on if you hit the hard nair or the soft nair, you can go into down tilt, forward tilt, depending on what situation you want to set up after. So it's such a great burst option. And if you go full air drift, you can even cross people up, set up really good block strings with up tilt, or just cross them up in general is a really good position, depending on the character, of course. And the last burst option I want to go over is grounded illusion. This is one of his slower ones because of the startup, but it covers a lot of ground. So you'll catch a lot of people off guard if they're not really like reacting too well to your grounded illusions, and if you're just catching them dashing around at that mid range, like mid stage level, you can catch a lot of people dashing, and it still leads into a lot of his aerial moves. So still really good kill setup / damage. Next, I just want to go over how strong of a character Fox is for tech chasing. Because of his grounded movement speed, at least top level Foxes are going to be really efficient at reacting to your tech option and just getting the straight up kill out of it. Because Fox is running up smash, has so much range now, he still has that insane movement speed. So he's going to be able to put you in tech situations, and against really good Foxes, they're just going to react to what you do and get a kill off of it. So, and even if you're not in kill percentage, like they're still going to get a lot of really good damage. So just tech chasing in general, this is going to be one of the best characters in the game at tech chasing. One of the bigger changes they made to Fox is how much they buffed his up smash. Of course, they nerfed a lot of other things, but this is one of the things that I really want to focal point because it's such a big part of Fox's gameplay. His up smash got insanely bigger, just the hitbox in general, and it seems stronger as well. And another great thing is since you don't have to jump cancel out of shield, like jump cancel up smash, you can just up smash right away. Up smashing out of shield is even faster. So the fact that they buffed Fox's up smash and it's like up smashing out of shield is better in general. It's just Fox can work out of shield really well in terms of just nailing the kill. Or if he's just chasing you down and he up smashes, it's just really great because the hitbox is bigger. They also made it taller as well. So even on some stages, you can hit players on top of platforms with the up smash, which is something Fox couldn't really do in Smash 4. So just like being aggressive or even being defensive out of shield with up smash is just generally so good in this game. Another strong aspect Fox has in this game is his cross-up potential and all the block strings he sets up. A lot of the block strings are mainly going to come out of Nair or just most of his falling aerials, but mainly Nair. If Fox hits your shield with Nair, you have to respect so many other options. There's jab, forward tilt, mainly jab because that's the quickest option. And if he crosses you up with Nair, he can buffer up tilt for another block string. So this character just has a lot of block string potential with one of his like main combo starters. And when you start grouping all these moves together and they do multiple things, that's when you're really going to have a strong character. And it just really perfectly pairs with Fox because Fox is that pressure orientated character. He can rush you down, he can keep the pressure up. So when a character like that has really strong cross-ups and really strong block strings, it gets very dangerous. Fox's damage output was really amazing in Smash 4, and the damage output is still really good in this game, but it's a little different. Not everything sets up into up air like it used to, but now instead a lot of it sets up into nairs or down tilts. It's really interesting because Fox kind of damages more horizontally now. You kind of get a hit going to nairs, down tilts, back airs, and that's mainly your damage starters, at least from dash attack, which is going to be one of your main combo starters, dash attack and nair. You can still get up air strings, but they usually start off with an anti-air up tilt, or if you just hit a straight up air and then you go into more up airs, with the exception of auto cancel dare, which can lead into up air strings. So Fox being that pressure orientated character that can be very aggressive, he's really good at pushing certain situations on stage. If you're in the corner against Fox and you don't have any room to dash back, you have to deal with his pressure. And like I said, this character has one of the best burst options in the game. So when you kind of have to just sit there and eat the rock, paper, scissors situation against Fox, it can be very frustrating. It can be very hard to get out of the corner against Fox. So it's just really hard to deal with. And when he also has you on a platform, it's also hard to deal with because there's no shield dropping anymore. If he hits your up air with shield, there's more shield stuns, so you're kind of stuck in that situation for even longer, and he can already like set up for the next up air. So just being in the corner or being on a platform against Fox, it's very hard to deal with, and it can be very frustrating. So Fox is that glass cannon type of build. So when I talk about him pushing advantage state, he's going to be insanely good at it. He's one of the best at juggling just because he can reactively follow you on the ground depending on how good your character's air mobility is and just chase you down, wait for you to burn that double jump, and he'll just try to catch your landing with up tilt, dash attack, or up smash. And these are all like very deadly moves. You don't want to get hit by any of these moves, usually leading to death or just taking a lot of damage. So it can be very hard to land against this character. He's definitely one of the best characters at juggling. His offstage isn't amazing. He can still get a lot of characters that have weaker recoveries, but for the most part, against a lot of these meta characters that have really good recoveries, Shine isn't going to do too much against them. It's still a relevant option, but for the most part, you're not going to see Fox commit too hard off stage unless it's a character with like a not so great recovery. Fox's ledge trapping is still strong in Ultimate, but it's not as good as it was in Smash 4. Up tilt doesn't hit below the ledge anymore, so you can now take a little bit more time against Fox. You don't really have to pick an option because in Smash 4, if you stayed on the ledge too long and your intangibility ran out, he could hit you with up tilt, go into an up air or back air, and you can just like take a lot of damage or potentially die. So you had to like make a lot of decisions really quick. And so the pressure was really on when you're getting ledge trapped in Smash 4. But in Ultimate, you can take a little time. Fox can still hit you underneath the ledge with like down smash or other like moves, but it's not as crazy as up tilt. So you have a little bit more time to make choices when you're getting ledge trapped against Fox. But when you do eventually pick a ledge option, he has a lot of quick moves. He runs really quick. So he can still reactively ledge trap you pretty well, but it's just not as pressuring. So one thing I noticed in the current meta is that there's a lot of strong zoners that are just making a lot of good tournament runs. And I do really feel that Fox is a counter against zoners. He can really stick to them, be really close to them. And of course, zoners, they do have tools that can like, they have get off me options. So they do have tools for that, but for the most part, Fox is going to have more options because that's the kind of character he is. He wants to be next to you. He wants to be fighting you. He wants to be in that situation all the time, and he has multiple options in those situations. As to where zoners, they might only have a handful of options, or some might not even have any. On top of that, Fox has a shine, so he can reflect projectiles as well. So you really have an answer to these zoner types like all the way across the board. If you're far away from him and they're shooting projectiles at you, you can reflect them, and you can always stay close to them. And those are just things zoners don't want to deal with. So I definitely think, even as if you're thinking about picking up Fox as some kind of pocket character, playing them against zoners is a very strong option. So I've been talking about how good Fox is, but he definitely has weaknesses. Like I said, he's that glass cannon type of build. So he's going to have a lot of crazy strengths and then a lot of crazy weaknesses. So let's get into the cons. So when he's in disadvantage, the only really saving grace when he's getting juggled is his fall speed. He can get to the ground really quick, and he usually going to want to throw out nair. He can get reversals and sometimes kill or just get a lot of damage. But other than that, his landing hitboxes aren't really big. They don't really have any disjoints. So if you read that Fox is going to try to nair, you can usually just get out of the way and punish, or you can just anti-air him. So in that case, you can really punish Fox for trying to land down on you. And for the most part, Fox are really going to want that. They really want that landing nair. They really want to get that damage or get that kill. So it's pretty predictable in that case. He's also very, very weak off stage. I do want to go over some of the recovery changes they did for Fox. Side B obviously has a lot more startup, but there is 3 different side B distances you can do. When you press side B, you can either you can press side B, leave it in the neutral position, or you can press side B and then back, and then you'll do a shorten, or you can hold side B and you'll lengthen how long you go with the side B. So there's 3 different distances. So he does have a little bit of mix-up in that case, but there is more startup. So essentially, since he has more startup, you can essentially just hit him before he shoots off the side B. Now, side B and up B are definitely 2 recovery moves that cover a lot of distance, yes, but since they have that startup, if you have a move, say like bouncing fish, that can just like go out there while they're starting up and just kill them for it. And there's a lot of characters that have a lot of different options like that. So definitely can be exploited off stage. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why Fox is doing so well right now, is because people aren't really comfortable with his new recovery. His up B is now stronger. So it's pretty funny because I've seen people die at like 30% because they try to edgeguard Firefox. They end up getting hit by it. They get stage spiked and they just like straight up die for it. So when you're edgeguarding Firefox, make sure you're ready. If just in case you miss, or if the Firefox beats out your move, get ready to tech. The hitbox is also bigger. So just generally, Firefox is harder to edgeguard, but I still think it's definitely edgeguardable. Like I said, people just have to kind of get used to like how big the hitbox is, how strong the hitbox is. And once people start getting used to it, we're going to see in the meta, like we're going to see a lot more Foxes die off stage because of this. So I've been going over all of these special moves, and why I focal point that so much is because Fox really has to use these special moves to recover. There's a lot of other characters that have high air mobility. They can double jump after getting hit, kind of drift high, and there's that mix up of like, oh, where they're going to drift and all that jazz. But Fox can't really do that. His air mobility is really bad. So to like horizontally move towards the stage, he really, really, really depends on these special moves. He really depends on that illusion, really depends on that Firefox. So Foxes are forced in a lot of situations to use those moves. So like I said, I think as the meta develops, players are going to get better at edgeguarding it, and we're going to like we'll still see Fox in the meta, but I don't think he'll be like as popular. I do think that he's a high tier character. I definitely don't think he's top tier. And like I said, I feel like as the meta goes on, people will get more used to just like exploiting Fox's weaknesses. So another weakness Fox does have as well, since he is so cross-up orientated, for the most part, he has to commit into his opponent to put the pressure up, start the block strings, go for all those cross-ups. So at the end of the day, if someone has really good out-of-shield options from behind and in front of them, they can really punish Fox for going off for all these cross-ups and all these block strings, because they're just going to punish the cross-up itself. Characters like Pichu have really good backers out of shield and like Nair out of shields. Even Bowser has a really solid up B out of shield. So it doesn't really matter if Fox goes for all these cross-ups. If he hits their shield, essentially there are certain characters that they will just punish him for. So that is something that is a problem for Fox. Another thing is they did nerf his weight by a lot. Like I said, they made him more of a glass cannon build. He is currently tied 5th and 6th place in terms of weight of how light he is. So he's tied with Mewtwo. So he's really, really light. So if you hit him with a hard hitting move, he's going to die really, really early. And I kind of like it personally. I like how they made him more of a glass cannon build. Feels like more fair to me. I do think he was a bit too strong in Smash 4. So overall, I do like all the changes they did to Fox. And as a previous Fox player in Smash 4, he still feels really fun to play.
And that'll conclude today's lesson on Fox. I hope you guys learned a lot. This character is a very relevant character in the meta. Make sure to like and subscribe. And shoutouts to Even Matchup Gaming for letting me use their content from Let's Make Moves. And shoutouts to just everyone who came together to make that tournament happen. Bye-bye.